We often have many questions when starting to learn a language. With so many tutorials and resources available online, it can be overwhelming to figure out which ones work best for us. I minored in Japanese for 3 years and I've been studying it ever since. I want to share some mistakes I made in the past so you won't have to repeat them. When I first started learning Japanese, I relied almost entirely on textbooks. I feel like I didn't have enough time to find other resources and I wasn't sure how to create an immersive environment. But the truth is, there's no such thing as perfect resource. You just have to find something you enjoy and incorporate Japanese into your daily life. For me, reading articles is a great way to practice because it is less time consuming than books. Lately, I've also been trying to write reflections after reading. In the past, I would use a dictionary to look up unfamiliar words, but it was stressful, especially when faced with a lot of kanji. That's when I found Immersive Translate, a free browser extension that has completely changed my reading experience. It's super easy to install, and with just one click, I get instant translations. Whether I'm browsing my favorite websites like Noto or reading manga on Shonen Jump Plus, this extension provides quick and accurate translations, even for technical terms. Instead of looking up each word, it saved me a lot of time and helped me to understand the context better. It works not just for web pages, but also for documents like Word, and PDFs. Since Immersive Translate supports multiple platforms, it seamlessly replaces Japanese text with translations in any target language I prefer, helping me absorb content more naturally and stay immersed in Japanese. At first, I wasn't sure when to translate. I used to have many concerns with translations, but then I realized learning a language should feel natural, like how kids learn through exposure. Now I only translate when I need to or when I can't figure out from the context, because a lot of times I can tell what it means just by looking at the pictures. Another problem with focusing too much on textbook is that my expressions are too formal. Just like any other language, natural speech should include filler words, casual expressions, and even body language. I found myself using mass form a lot, which isn't how friends talk to each other. That's why I prefer watching YouTube videos. They help me focus on how people interact with one another. Immersive Translate makes this easier by offering bilingual subtitles, making Japanese content feel way less intimidating. Plus, it works across platforms like YouTube and TikTok, so I don't have to switch between different apps. When I started learning Japanese, I often wrote in hiragana without using kanji because it was easier. I knew some commonly used kanji, but that was it. Obviously, I didn't need them to speak Japanese. However, over time, I got so used to writing in hiragana that I stopped learning kanji altogether. I think this was one of the reasons I hit a plateau and struggled to improve. Then I bought a bunch of manga and started reading them. Because they include furigana, it really helped me get used to reading kanji again. With all the action and plot, I also felt more motivated to keep going. Now I make it a habit to learn new kanji every week by writing them down and reviewing them frequently. It's important to not just recognize kanji but also understand their pronunciation and meaning. Learning them all together saves a lot of time. There are times when I forget a kanji, so I'll write in hiragana, but later I make sure to look up the kanji to avoid relying on hiragana next time. It's never too late to go back and relearn what you missed. Whenever I start learning a language, I often struggle with speaking because I overthink before I say anything. I like to plan my sentences in advance to make sure they're accurate. However, this perfectionism made me hesitant to speak at all. I broke this habit by practicing spontaneous speaking. I try to talk to myself in Japanese more without having a specific topic in mind. If I hear something in Japanese, I mimic certain expressions. Even when I make mistakes, I focus on finishing my sentences rather than lingering too long and self-correcting. Another reason I hesitated was that I translated everything in my head first. For common phrases like aisatsu or chumen, they come naturally because I've said them so many times already. But when I need to express my thoughts, I struggle to find the right words. This just means I need more immersion and practice. By observing how native speakers express themselves, I can adopt their phrasing. For example, I've been watching travel vlogs. In the past, I only use oishi to describe food, but by taking notes and paying attention to how native speakers talk about flavors, I can now say things like お肉の柔らかさや煮込まれた味に感動した. Another useful method is writing down my thoughts first and then read them out loud. The more I write, the faster I think in Japanese. I grew up watching anime, but I never really learned much from it because I watch it for fun with subtitles. It's unrealistic to learn a language just by watching anime, at least not for me. It was great for sparking my interest in the culture and language, but it takes more than that to become fluent. There were so many times I thought I had picked up a phrase, but I had actually misheard it. So it's better to build up some vocabulary first and then find ways to immerse yourself in the language. Now, when I watch Japanese movies and anime, I try to use Japanese subtitles or none at all to train my listening skills. There's still times when I have no clue what's going on, but that's part of the process. I focus more on picking up things I do understand. Even if I know a lot of the things they say, I don't always know how to structure a sentence as natural as they do on the screen. For any language, it's best to focus on pronunciation early on because bad habits are harder to correct later. Phonetics is often something we overlooked and it's not taught extensively in the classrooms. Japanese, like Chinese, has a pitch accent, meaning it's not spoken in a completely flat tone. For example, to say the word thank you in Japanese, it's not arigato, it's arigato. If you don't pay attention, your pronunciation might sound slightly off. So, how do you improve pronunciation? If you use flashcards, consider adding pronunciations so you can hear what they sound like while reviewing vocabs. One technique that really helps me is saying new words out loud. Whenever I learn a new word, I try to capture the right tone. It also helps with memorization. Personally, I struggle with long vowels like u and small tsu. For example, in kenko tekina, I often forgot u because ko already has o sound. The same goes for small tsu. I used to struggle with typing the correct words because of this. These are things that I could have avoided if I'd paid more attention to pronunciations earlier. When school or work got busy, I often found excuses to put off learning languages. There's nothing wrong with taking breaks, but there were times when I could have spent time learning Japanese but chose to do something else instead. Discipline is important for achieving anything in life. In the past, I thought discipline meant studying for hours every day, but even just 15 minutes of focused study can be effective. What matters is within these minutes, I concentrate fully in the task at hand. I'm not multitasking, I'm not looking for any other kind of stimulation. Now I create a language learning plan every month. If things don't go as planned, I don't blame myself. I either adjust my schedule to fit in a quick exercise or add it to the next day's plan. I don't give up just because I miss one day. The most important thing is to stop waiting for the perfect moment to start. You will make mistakes, but you will also learn from them. I hope this video clears up some of your confusion and gives you useful ways to study better. If you've watched till this point, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.